All right, today we're putting on our detective hats. We're going to dive into a real-world security case and see how data analysts sift through an absolute mountain of alerts to find the real, genuine threats that are hiding in plain sight. So, let's get into it. Okay, so picture this. You're on the security team, and the alerts just keep piling up. In a single month, you get 191 potential security incidents. That's, more than 6 every single day? The sheer volume is just, completely overwhelming. And that, right there, is the million-dollar question, isn't it? With all those red flags popping up, how do you focus on the signals that actually matter? How do you find the real danger in all of that noise? Well, that's the case we're cracking open today. Now, every good investigation starts by sizing up the scene. So first, we're going to take a look at the raw data, the most obvious stuff, just to get our bearings. Here's our starting point. 191 separate events. Each one of these could be a problem. Could be someone loitering, a suspicious car, you name it. This is the flood of information we've got to make sense of. And get this, these aren't just minor blips on the radar. Over half, we're talking nearly 53% of all those incidents were already flagged as high or critical risk. Now that tells us the team is pretty good at spotting sketchy behavior, but it also means the stakes are incredibly high. So the initial report gives us our first solid clues. The main hotspot is the vehicle gate. The action really peaks around lunchtime, between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. The most common thing people are doing is just scoping the place out, and they're usually on scooters or bikes. Seems simple, right? Case closed. Just focus all your attention on the gate at lunchtime. Well, not so fast. Now we get to the really interesting part of the investigation. We're going to go beyond the obvious and use some statistical tools to separate what we think is happening from what's actually happening. This is where the real detective work begins. And this is the crucial question we have to ask. I mean, just because a place is busy, does that really mean it's where the most dangerous stuff is happening? Or is it, just busy? Our first statistical test is going to give us the answer. And here is our first big twist in the case. A test revealed that even though the vehicle gate has more incidents overall, the ratio of high-risk to low-risk events is actually the same everywhere else. The danger isn't concentrated at that main gate. It's spread evenly across the entire perimeter. So what that means is that focusing only on the busiest spot would be a huge mistake. A critical threat is just as likely to pop up at some quiet spot along a sidewall as it is at that bustling main entrance. This lead, it's a dead end. We need to find a new clue. And just like that, we get our next big break. A different test found something fascinating. While the location of a threat didn't really matter, the day of the week absolutely did. It turns out that on Saturdays, incidents involved way bigger groups of people. And this isn't just a random spike, it's a statistically significant pattern. We've got a new lead to chase. Okay, so our investigation is getting deeper now. We know that the size of the group is a big deal, especially on the weekends. But what kind of threats are we actually dealing with here? Are they all the same? Let's bring in a more powerful tool to find out. We're going to use a technique called factor analysis. Now, the easiest way to think about this is like a criminal profiling tool for data. It looks at all the different behaviors we've seen, scanning, probing, group size, and it figures out which ones tend to cluster together to reveal different types of adversaries. And wow, the results are a complete breakthrough. The analysis found 2 totally different profiles. First, you've got the scanner. Think of this as passive recon, somebody just looking around, usually on their own. But then you have the prober. This is a much more active, more advanced threat. They're actually testing defenses, their behavior changes over time. This is serious. We're no longer just tracking incidents, we're tracking distinct types of actors. So now we have our suspect profiles. But what's the final piece of this whole puzzle? We need to know exactly which behaviors are the most powerful predictors of a really high-risk event. It is time to finally crack the code. So now we're going to use our final analysis to find the smoking guns. This model is going to tell us, out of all the data we've gathered, which factors have the biggest statistical impact on how risky an incident is, which clues really truly matter the most. And here they are. The model couldn't be clearer. The single biggest predictor of a critical threat is an evolving pattern. That's when somebody's behavior changes. Maybe they come back to the same spot, or they switch from just looking to actually testing a gate. That suggests a planned operation. And the second strongest predictor? Group size. For every extra person in a group, the risk score goes up. Simple as that. And the original report says it directly. This connection isn't just a hunch. It is a data-driven certainty. This is the key we've been looking for the entire time. So what does this all mean? We followed the clues, we've busted some myths, and we've identified the real predictors of danger. Now, it's time to put all of that together and build a smarter, data-driven defense plan. And the final recommendations are a direct result of our investigation. First, staff up on Saturdays to handle those larger, higher-risk groups. Second, train your analysts to spot the difference between a passive scanner and an active prober. Third, automatically flag any group of 3 or more for a higher risk assessment. And finally, maintain constant vigilance everywhere, because we proved that risk has nothing to do with location or time of day. Every decision is backed by solid data.
By turning a flood of confusing data into a clear intelligence picture, this facility went from just reacting to incidents to actually predicting them. It's a powerful example of how looking beneath the surface can reveal the patterns that truly matter. And it leaves us with one last thought. What critical patterns are hiding in your data, just waiting for a detective to find them?